The images on the screen are of the largest one, named Vatnajökull. The Icelandic word for glacier is jökull. So let's start to put some order in this information about what I personally think is the most incredible place I've ever been. So they are telling us that those natural wonders were reforming themselves for the last 2500 years. But do you remember the map made by the Swedish ecclesiastic Olaus Magnus in 1539 that I have presented to you in the first part of this video? Well, here we have it again on the screen, and as we can observe, there are no sign of glacier nowhere to be seen. But this cartographical work is not 3,000 or 4,000 years old. So where are the glaciers? Wikipedia have the answer. He was misconcepted, or let's say confused. Fine, mystery solved. Really? So let's go clear our minds on this topic straight to the place where all of the experts in history take their knowledge from. The geographical work that I will present you in the next few minutes come straight from the National and University Library of Iceland. The first map that I choose to present you is a magnificent work made by the cartographer Sebastian Munster in the second half of the 1500s. And as we can observe, in the areas where the biggest glaciers lie in our days, there is depicted a lake and two rivers that flow toward the ocean. There is no sign of ice nowhere to be seen. But of course, at that time the cartographers were primitive and confused, so we will find mistakes here and there in depicting lands. Fine, let's try with another geographer. The next map that I will present you is a 1548 work made by Hieronymus Gourmont, and again we can appreciate the same situation. Not only in the southeast part of the island there are no sign of glaciers, but instead lakes and rivers, but there is no sign of ice nowhere on the entire land. Instead, where in our days lies all of that ice mass, we can clearly see depicted forests, town, tents, people in short pants or almost naked. If we move just 2 decades further in time though, we have this cartographical work made by Ferrando Bertelli in 1566. And as you can see, on this really spectacular work, there are no sign of glacier nowhere to be seen, except for those kind of pieces of ice depicted in the ocean that, first of all, are not in the east side of the island where the Mare Congelatum lies, and second of all, they look completely out of place on the map. The color is different, the way of painting is different. Actually, to me, they look added to the map by someone else. But we will examine this phenomenon later on. For the moment, let's look for glaciers. To start, there are painted forests everywhere, and in those areas I can assure you that there are no trees at all. Second of all, there are depicted lakes and rivers. There is no doubt that those are large bodies of water and not glacier. There are boats depicted in it. Moving to the middle of this amazing map, we can appreciate a volcano under eruption, some villages, a large city, some tents, and plenty of forest. But if we move our research just a bit lower, we can learn that it's the country of Iceland. It is clearly written Islanda. There's no doubt about it. But my question is, what are those buildings beside the largest city on the island? They are very peculiar. Do you remember in the first part of this video when I've shown you the same strange structures, but in the southwest of Finland, depicted on the map of Olaus Magnus? They really look the same. What are they? And also in this other map found in Italy from the same period in history, it gives us the same exact details. There are no glaciers on the island. I will never accept the idea that those brilliant cartographers were, as Wikipedia tells us, misconcepted. It's an insult to the knowledge of our ancestors. I'm starting to be really annoyed of the so-called historians telling us what is real or misconception. Look at the next cartographical work made by Girolamo Porro in 1572. Where are the glaciers? And again, look at the ice depicted in the ocean. To me, it is clearly added to the map. It is completely different than the rest of the work. The color is different. The way of painting is different. To me, it looked like that they want us to think that there's ice in the sea, but I can be mistaken. The next work is a 1601 map of Iceland made by the geographer Johannes Vriens. I cannot continue repeating the same questions. What are all of those cities? There's ice in those areas in our days. Where are the glaciers? Next one, from 1616, made by Petrus Bertius and Jodocus Ondius. Look at the quantity of cities and towns depicted all over the island, and in particular where the glacier lies in our days. All of these maps come from the National and University Library of Iceland, not from some comic book. I can continue forever showing you maps of Iceland depicted completely out of ice. But I think that at this point it's pretty obvious that something very fishy is going on with the official version of history presented.
Well, there you have it. Thank you, Life Creations. As